Welcome back. Today I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while actually. I've been meaning to do more of these, but I just looked back on my old ones of these tutorials and cringed. Like, I feel like I really didn't know what I was doing back then. Well, I had an idea, but I kept leaning in the wrong direction, and I decided that I should give it some time before I was doing it again, until I feel comfortable with knowing what I'm doing. So here, I'm going to be making a dubstep track, and I'm no pro of dubstep, I understand that. I'm no Seamless or Virtual Riot, but I think that's actually a good thing in this case, because I find that looking at the other tutorial, while the experiences obviously are very, very helpful to listen to, and I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to them, sometimes there can be complications because they're so used to what they're dealing with. Now, I'm used to this to an extent, but I don't feel like I'm so used to it that I could accidentally skim over things, at least not too much, that you might need to know. So, I'm going to treat this as a very, very basic tutorial, just in case there are some people who really don't know what they're doing coming into this. I mean, that's why you go to watch a tutorial. So, if you're doing dubstep, personally, I mean, you can use some other synths, but if you're just talking about the ones you get with FL, I would only use GMS, Harmor, and Citrus, and I won't really use GMS too much for dubstep, more for just the synths at the beginnings and at the breaks and all that. Harmor and Citrus are your big dubstep instruments in FL. Now, that might seem like very restrictive to have only two instruments that are really good for dubstep in FL, but the truth is that actually there's a lot that's possible with just these two synthesizers. You got one thing that you got to keep in mind is that the one synthesizer can produce very many different sounds. Like, I remember when I first jumped in, I thought like they wouldn't that like a synthesizer wouldn't be able to like change much of its sound, and I thought that like this was actually even a small amount of synthesizers, and I thought that would need to use all of them. But in truth, I barely use like any of these. I only really use 3 times oscillator, GMS, Harmor, and Citrus out of the FL ones. But so anyway, I'm just going to jump into this. An open up instance of GMS, which is what I like to do to make. This is the synth I like to use to make my opening synth. This is the synthesizer I like to use, the plugin I like to use to make my opening synths. So I'm just going to get a default. If you, by the way, to get the default, you go on this thing to bring up presets. Go on user. And these are all my presets, but you won't have these unless you have already made some. It's in alphabetical order if you have, so just look for D and you'll find default, and then you'll get a generic saw wave. Now, if I just turn up the volume, you can see clearer. Creates a kind of spiky looking wave shape up there. Just for those who really don't know what an oscillator is. Basically, all synthesizers, pretty much, there are some like exceptions, but pretty much all synthesizers work on a basis of having oscillators. And oscillators basically just create a wave shape on this oscilloscope, which is what these sound wave measuring things are called. So if I press the key thing now, you'll see the saw shape, and that's a saw shape. The rest of these are pretty self-explanatory in terms of the basic ones. There's a lot of here that like are quite complex, but the main ones that you're gonna be using most of the time is saw, sine, which is a bit of a circular one, triangle, which is self-explanatory, and square, which is also pretty self-explanatory. The rest of these have some much weirder shapes, but you can get into that when you're a bit more confident with how these work. You don't really need to have too many waveforms. It's not really a necessity. It's just that your track can sound a bit dull if you use the same waveforms all the time. So anyway, one trick that you can do straight off the bat that makes the synths a lot more exciting is, and I'm so annoyed I didn't know this straight off the bat, but basically this is unison. The more, and basically this is how many voices that the music has, the synthesizer has, and by voices, what it's basically doing is it's creating loads of copies of the synthesizer, but each copy is slightly different. And the different ways it can be different is that they have a different area on the stereo image, so they might be more easily heard on the left or the right, or that they are a bit detuned, so they're not exactly at the same pitch. So if I just play it with the more spread, with no settings, it sounds almost the same. But if I turn up the detune to let's say 40, then you kind of get that. Wouldn't really say hardcore, but you know, it sounds a lot more fitting for dubstep because it's a lot more active. It's a lot more harsh sounding, but it's not like destroying your ears. And then you can spread out the stereo image, you get that nice kind of effect. So this is a nice technique I like to do, that makes nice sounding synths. You ash me, cash me outside. How about that? No, but seriously, basically this is a filter. Most synths have a filter, and if you don't have one, you can put one on, and I'll show you that later. But basically, this cutoff, basically, if you know when you see frequencies, just a minute, I should probably, don't worry about what I'm doing now, I'll explain it later. You don't have to do this, I'm just going to do this to prove a point, to explain to you what's going on, but I'm going to get this thing called Wave Candy on here, set it to Spectrum, I believe it's, sorry, Spectrum, there we go. So if I play a note now, you see all the frequencies it hits here. If I turn down the cutoff, the frequencies are taken away. Sorry, excuse me. So you can change the how high the frequencies can go on the synth with this. Resonance, basically, what it does is it makes it louder where the cutoff point is. So if it's at 50% and I set the resonance to full, then at 50% it will be really loud. You don't want to have it too high with full resonance as well, because actually that's not too bad, but yeah, you can get some very annoying sounds. Yeah, like that, like whistling, horrible fizzing like sounds. So you got to be careful with resonance, but as long as you're a bit careful, then you should be fine with it. But what I like to do is I like to turn on the cutoff, not all the way usually, because usually then it's a bit too much, but to around 30, 40, maybe even 20, and then you get this sound. Very, very low. Here is the LFO section, and at the moment it has FLT and sine wave selected. Basically, FLT is short for filter, and this controls the filter. And this is the amount it controls the filter by. Now that's a bit vague, but basically, whenever the amount is at full, the filter is like completely off. So this can turn the filter on and off. But and this wave is like the way it does it. So at the moment, it just like goes up and down in like that kind of fashion, because that's how sine wave moves. A saw wave spikes up, goes back down, spikes up like that. And this is the amount of how fast the LFO goes every single time it completes like a rotation. I'm going to set it to half of a beat, so every half beat the cutoff will go much higher. And you get that nice little sound. I'm just going to turn up the cutoff a bit more. And to make it even more interesting, in this envelope section, the envelope section is basically the same as the LFO, but instead of doing it continuously, it just does it straight away. And here we see an attack and a decay knob. Attack is basically a fade in. So it fades the effect in, and the decay fades it out. So we could do the same thing here with the filter and the decay, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to put the LFO effect on, which this doesn't have. This has level, which is basically volume. And what this does is basically now the envelope also controls the LFO, how effective that is. So the cutoff, when it goes up, it's going to go up by smaller amounts the longer I hold down the note. That's a bit sudden, so I'm just going to turn up the decay a bit until I'm happy with it. I'm happy with that. So, spent quite a while on this, but I just wanted to be extremely clear about what's what. So I'm going to have to end this first part here. But I'm going to start recording the next one, like, right after I'm done. The only thing that should be slowing this down is the upload times. So hopefully these don't take too long to upload. But anyway, see you in the next one. If you like these videos, please subscribe.